All right, strap in, everyone. We're going deep on the Poltergeist movies.
Ooh, good pick. A classic.
You know those conversations we have about, like, the best haunted house movies?
Yeah.
It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, Poltergeist, especially that first one. It's like haunted house, but boom, right in the suburbs.
Totally.
Like picture perfect family, the Freelings, living the dream. But
something is off.
yeah, like under the surface, this creepy feeling.
And we gotta talk about Spielberg. I mean, directed by Tobe Hooper, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy.
Right.
But Spielberg's all over this.
Co-wrote it, produced it. Spielberg loved those suburban, like, alienation stories. You can totally see it in Poltergeist.
It's not just a house that's haunted.
It's the whole neighborhood. It's like their whole life is haunted.
Okay, so first movie, 1982, Poltergeist. Family moves in, new house, and of course.
Things go wrong.
But it's the way they use normal, everyday stuff to make it scary.
Like the TV.
Right.
First, it's just entertainment, window to the world, whatever.
Mm.
Then, bam, portal for ghosts.
Oh, for sure.
Like Spielberg knew we were all getting kind of freaked out by technology, like
Yeah.
it was going to take over.
And that scene, Carol Ann, the little girl in front of the staticky TV, they're here. Chills every time.
So simple, but so good. The sound design is amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
All that white noise, the weird voices,
Oh,
gets right under your skin.
total nightmare fuel. Don't forget the clown doll and the tree that grabs Robbie through the window.
Oh, yeah. Iconic horror movie moments right there.
Uh,
The special effects were insane for back then, too.
Yeah.
Like, set a new standard for how to do ghosts on film.
One thing I noticed, like digging into this, the house itself is important. It's not just any haunted house, right? It's built on a Native American burial ground.
Right. Huge element. That's like historical stuff, social commentary, all mixed into the horror.
Yeah.
Like saying, hey, the American dream
Yeah.
kind of built on some messed up things, violence, displacement.
And that stuff comes back to haunt you, literally.
Literally.
So they call in like paranormal investigators.
Got to get Carol Ann back.
But things get even worse.
Way worse.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is where you see how strong their family is.
Right.
They could have just run away.
New house, who cares?
Exactly. But they're like, nope, we're fighting for our kid no matter what.
The ending, no spoilers, but wow. Intense way to cleanse a house.
Talk about purification. Erasing the past and starting over. But you're still left thinking, what if it comes back?
Okay, sequel time. Poltergeist second, the other side. Picks up right where we left off, but gets even weirder.
Okay, so if we're looking at the big picture, this is where they go deeper on the mythology.
Love that.
Like, it wasn't random ghosts. It was this evil dude, Reverend Cain, who wants Carol Ann. Bad.
Yeah, Reverend Cain, that dude was terrifying. Skeletal, that voice.
Yeah.
What was his deal?
Pure evil. Like, wants to control you, possess you, the whole thing. And he's obsessed with Carol Ann. Makes it even scarier, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not just a haunted house anymore. It's like a battle for her soul.
They bring in Taylor, the Native American mystic dude, to help the family fight Cain.
Taylor's important, right? He shows us a whole different way to look at the supernatural. He's connected to the land, the spirits, all that. And he knows how to fight this spiritual war.
Not just science versus ghosts.
It's like different ways of seeing the world, clashing, makes the story way deeper.
I gotta ask you about the worm scene in Poltergeist a second.
Right.
You know the one.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, the dad, tequila, bad things happen. So messed up.
Definitely disturbing. But it shows how sneaky Cain is. Like, he can get into anything, even a drink.
And that scene where Cain is singing, God is in his holy temple, trying to get Carol Ann to come to the other side.
So creepy. He's like twisting something good into something evil. Plays on our fears about like crazy religious people,
Totally. Poltergeist II is straight up spiritual warfare. Not just surviving, it's good versus evil, light versus darkness.
And it takes a toll on everyone. Not just the danger, but like the mental and spiritual weight of fighting this powerful evil. All right, 2 movies down. Ready for number 3. Hit me. This one, things change up a bit. The setting, the feel, but those core themes, that's what makes Poltergeist.
Okay. Poltergeist III, we're not in the suburbs anymore.
Nope, we're in Chicago. Big high-rise apartment.
Totally different vibe, but Carol Ann, she's still got Cain on her tail. This guy does not give up.
It's kind of like the setting change reflects what the movie's about,
Oh, interesting.
Like the first 2, it was the suburbs hiding something dark.
Yeah.
Here, it's the city, but it's that feeling of being alone in a crowd.
Oh, I see.
Like, Carol Ann's surrounded by people, but still super vulnerable.
And they use mirrors as, like, portals for Cain. That's creepy.
Mirrors always had that supernatural thing going on.
Yeah.
Like a doorway, between worlds,
Yeah.
thin veil between us and, well, whatever's out there.
Spooky.
But in this one, the mirrors are like Cain's weapon.
Right, right. This film had a real-life tragedy, too, didn't it?
Yeah. Heather O'Rourke, she played Carol Ann. She passed away during filming.
Oh.
12 years old. Just awful.
Yeah.
Definitely makes watching the movie different, knowing that.
Yeah, I bet. Must have been hard for the cast and crew to keep going.
For sure. They had to rewrite things, use stand-ins, the whole deal.
Poltergeist the Third, maybe not as, like, critically loved as the first two, but it's still part of the story. Shows they were trying new things, you know, different places, ideas.
But still scary. And it makes you think about, like, what happens when someone takes advantage of an innocent kid?
Oh, right. Carol Ann and her powers.
Yeah. The adults are always trying to control her, use her. Not cool.
That's in all the Poltergeist movies, though, right? Kids being in danger, facing stuff they don't understand.
Totally taps into that fear every parent has, like keeping your kids safe from things you can't even see.
Before we jump to the remake, gotta talk about the Poltergeist curse. Some freaky stuff happened with these movies. Real life, not just on screen.
Yeah, hard to ignore all the coincidences, for sure. Dominique Dunn, the older sister from the first movie, yeah, her boyfriend murdered her not long after the film came out.
Awful.
And then Heather's death. It's like real-life tragedy gets mixed up with the horror story.
It makes you think, you know, like maybe there's something more to it. All right, fast forward to 2015, the remake. Remember those trailers? Super creepy.
Visually, it was great. Like all the special effects, top-notch, but it didn't have that feeling, you know?
Like the heart of the original.
Yeah, a lot of people say that about remakes. They're so busy with the looks, they forget what made the first one special.
The characters, the like deeper stuff.
Totally. It's like they tried to copy the scares, but they didn't get why the original was actually scary.
Yeah.
Poltergeist wasn't just about like, boo, jump scares. It was about a family, their love, and how they stuck together even when things got crazy.
The remake couldn't capture that.
Not even close.
So origin story, the sequels, even the remake, we covered it all. But what's wild is how much Poltergeist changed horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like it made suburban horror a thing, right? The idea that even normal places can be terrifying.
Huge influence. Took haunted houses out of those old mansions, dropped them right in a neighborhood anyone could live in.
Yeah.
And people loved it.
It's like that fear that something's hidden, right under the surface of normal life.
And it makes you question, like, is my house safe? Is my life really that normal?
You mentioned before how Poltergeist did special effects differently. How did that change things for other horror films?
It was that mix,
Yeah.
right? Practical stuff with new tech. So the ghosts looked real, disturbing, and they stayed with you. Like they set a new standard for showing the supernatural.
So that's why so many horror movies are all about the visuals, the big effects.
I think so. But it's not just the tech, right? It's how you use it to make the audience feel like they're right there in the scary situation. Poltergeist made you believe it could really happen.
And come on, we gotta talk about the line. They're here.
Yeah.
Most quotable horror movie line ever.
Shows how powerful simple words can be. That line, the way Heather O'Rourke said it, it's not just in the movie anymore. It's like part of how we talk about scary stuff.
Crazy how one line can do that.
That's good storytelling, right? Creating moments that stick with you long after the movie's over.
So beyond the scares, the famous lines, what makes Poltergeist still work? Why are we still talking about it all these years later?
I think it's a few things. We talked about that primal fear, right? The unknown, losing control. Like, what if reality isn't what we think it is?
And Poltergeist takes that and makes it real, gives it a creepy face.
And it brings it home, literally. Your house, the place you should be safest, that's where the scary stuff happens.
Makes sense.
But there's also, like, a deeper thing. We love the idea that we're not alone, right? That there's more out there just beyond what we can see.
Like, we want to know what's behind the curtain, even if it's scary.
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, we wish we had special powers too, like Carol Ann. Like, what if we could see those things, you know?
It's like those stories let us imagine what if, but in a safe way.
Totally. Safe way to face our fears, think about the big stuff, like life and death and what comes after.
Looking back at all this, what sticks with you most about Poltergeist?
It reminds me that the best horror, it's not just about blood and guts. It's about what scares us deep down in our minds. And Poltergeist, it nails that. All those anxieties about, like, suburban life mixed with ghosts and stuff.
But it's still a family story, right?
Always. About love, facing your fears, all that.
Horror movies teaching us about love. Who knew?
Powerful stuff, right?
So we've done the history, the sequels, the remake, all of it. The source material says there's more to talk about, though. Like, deeper themes in these movies.
There's always more to uncover.
I'm ready. Hit me with these deeper themes. Like, what about consumerism, and feeling disconnected from, like, spiritual stuff?
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Super relevant these days, right? With everyone online all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the Freelings in the beginning. They're all about their stuff, their status, the whole American dream thing.
Right.
But they're not connected to anything bigger,
Like, spiritually.
Yeah. They don't care about the land, the history, the sacredness of the place they're living on.
So caught up in the material world, they miss the, like, spiritual world that's right there.
Exactly. And that makes them vulnerable, right? To the forces already in the house.
It's like they're disrespecting the place, the spirits, so they become targets.
Like they messed with the natural order, and now it's payback time.
Pretty heavy message when you think about, like, the environment and what's going on in the world today.
That our stuff, our obsession with it, can make us blind to what really matters.
Powerful stuff.
The source material also mentions women and the supernatural, like Carol Ann and her mom. Why are they the ones who, like, feel the spirits the most?
Another good one. Both Carol Ann and Diane, the mom, they just have this connection to that other world.
Yeah.
They sense the ghosts first, and in the end, they're the ones who really fight back.
Like, they just know things the men don't. Maybe it's that old idea of feminine intuition, right?
Yeah.
Women are more in touch with their feelings, the spiritual stuff.
Or maybe it's about how strong women are, especially mothers.
Lot to think about there. Definitely something to keep in mind when you watch these movies.
So much good stuff here. But before we finish up this Poltergeist deep dive, what about the future? Could they make more movies in this world?
Now that's the question, right? Always gets horror fans excited. And there's definitely potential. The source material even throws out some ideas.
Okay, I'm hooked. Give me some ideas. More Poltergeist, please.
What if they made a movie or even a show about Reverend Cain? Like his backstory, where the evil come from, what made him so messed up.
Oh, that's good. I want to know more about Cain. Like, yeah, he's evil, but how did he get that way?
Right. In the movies, we only see little bits of his past. A prequel could really show us who he was, what he went through.
Or maybe not even about Cain. What if they showed us new hauntings but connected to the same, like, spiritual rules as Poltergeist? Like, are there more places like that burial ground?
Totally. The Poltergeist world is huge. There could be other families, other places, all linked by those restless spirits, those vengeful things.
It's like the movies just showed us the tip of the iceberg. So many more stories they could tell.
And with all those horror shows popping up now, I bet people would love more Poltergeist. New filmmakers could do all sorts of cool stuff with those themes and ideas.
I'm already on board with all of this. But before we go full-on movie pitch mode, gotta wrap up this deep dive.
Agreed. Amazing journey through Poltergeist, the history, the deeper stuff, the impact it had on all of us.
So we've talked about all the Poltergeist stuff, sequels, the remake, even what future movies could be like. But gotta bring it back to us, What is it about these stories, these houses that are haunted, that just freak us out so much?
Yeah, people have been telling these kinds of stories forever, right? Like, why are we obsessed with the idea of something creepy getting into our normal lives? Is it just about being scared?
It feels like there's gotta be more to it.
I think it's about, like, facing those really deep fears, the stuff we don't know, losing control, what if everything we think is real just isn't?
And Poltergeist takes that, makes it something you can see, or at least a scary skeleton face you can see.
Right. And it puts that fear in our homes. The one place we should feel totally safe. But there's also this, like, fascination with the idea that we're not alone.
Oh, yeah. Like, what if there are other things out there, Just hiding from us.
We want to look behind the curtain, even though it might be terrifying.
Maybe. We kind of wish we had powers, too. Like Carol Ann. Like, what if we could see those things?
Right. It's like the stories let us play with what's real and what isn't, but in a safe way.
We get to imagine the impossible, get scared, but we're safe the whole time.
Totally. It's like a way to deal with our fears, think about big questions, all that.
Looking back on everything, what stands out to you most about Poltergeist?
The thing that gets me is the best horror, it's not just about jump scares and gross stuff. It's a mirror to what we're scared of, And Poltergeist does that perfectly. Suburban life, all those anxieties, then boom, ghosts.
But with all that, it's still about family.
Always. Love, facing your fears, all that good stuff.
Horror movies teaching us about love. Wild.
It's true though, right?
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listener to take away?
I'd say next time you watch a horror movie, especially one like Poltergeist where it's set in a normal place, ask yourself, why does this story get to me? What am I scared of?
Good advice. And hey, maybe keep an eye out for those flickering lights, things moving around when they shouldn't. You never know.
But seriously, remember that connection, love, facing your fears, that's powerful stuff.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for going deep with us. We'll see you all next time on The Deep Dive.